4. Welcome to WNL Sports Weekly. I'm your host, Jeremy Franklin. This week we'll speak with track and field coach Nate Hoey, women's basketball forward Becca Bolton, and men's hoops guard Kyle Bond. But first, a quick look back at the weekend in Washington and Lee sports. As always, you can find all of the latest WNL athletics news in detail at generalsports.com. The women's swimming team won its 4th consecutive Old Dominion Athletic Conference Championship and its 21st title overall, capturing the event at the Christiansburg Aquatic Center. Tamara Morse was the high point rider as WNL finished 8th at the Bridgewater Invitational. Women's basketball won in overtime at Guilford on Friday night, while men's basketball lost a close decision at home against Bridgewater on Saturday. The wrestling team fell to the Apprentice School, while baseball swept its season-opening doubleheader at Greensboro. And in track and field, the men's and women's teams combined to break 5 school records at the Lafayette Rider Winter Games at the New York City Armory. With me now is track and field coach Nate Hoey. Nate, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, good to be here.
It seems like every week we talk about several school records falling for both the men and the women. How pleased have you been with the performances so far in the indoor season?
Very pleased. It's been a great start to the year. We're both teams, men and women, are very young, but we've got some really good upperclassmen leadership, and those young folks are making an impact right away, and the upperclassmen are developing nicely. So it's been a really good start to the season.
What's the atmosphere like in a great venue like the New York City Armory?
The Armory is fantastic. I mean, it's right there in Manhattan. The venue itself is very, very fast, and you've got stadium seating all around, thousands of spectators. I mean, it's just a fantastic atmosphere, and for us to be able to take up, some of the team members there to compete, it lets them have that opportunity to compete at a really high level, and they certainly did that this past weekend.
What are your expectations for the ODAC Championship coming up at the end of the month?
Our expectations, our goals as a team every year, we always want to put ourselves in a position to compete for the conference championship. On the men's side, Lynchburg is very deep and strong. Virginia Wesleyan has some outstanding distance runners and some great sprinters and field event folks this year. I think we're very well rounded on our men's side. You can never count out Bridgewater. They're always really strong in the sprints and jumps. And so I think it's going to be a very competitive meet, and I'm excited to see how our young team really steps into that environment. On the women's side, Roanoke has traditionally been a really strong force. I think Lynchburg on paper is the favorite this year. They're very deep and well-rounded. Our women's team is very well-rounded. We're not particularly deep, but we're really strong and a well-rounded team, and I think we're going to be very competitive as well. So next Friday night, it's going to be exciting.
What will this weekend's Dickinson Invitational do to prepare your team for the conference meet?
We have a lot of objectives this weekend at Dickinson. We'll be resting some people to get them ready for the conference meet next weekend. Some people will be trying out, race plans, trying to execute certain technical models in the field events as a final tune-up for the conference meet. And other people are going to be using it as a chance to better their seed times, maybe get in a faster heat or a better flight for the conference meet. So there'll be a lot going on in us to prepare for next Friday.
Nate, as always, thanks for joining us here.
Great to be here. Thanks.
With me now is Becca Bolton, junior basketball forward from Pittsboro, North Carolina. Becca, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You were named the ODAC Women's Basketball Player of the Week after great games against Randolph-Macon and Guilford last week. What's enabled your success, especially in the past few games?
I think I've finally just been getting in rhythm, taking better shots, and rebounding more. I think the main thing is the team has just been playing better. We've been getting deeper into our offense and running our offensive plays more effectively. So when the team's playing better, I think it's easier to be more successful.
You spent the fall term studying off campus. Tell us about the program that you did with Duke.
Yeah, I was at the Duke University Marine Lab taking biology and environmental studies courses that focused on the marine side. We got to go out on boats and in the field a lot. I got a lot of lab experience. I was able to go to Panama for 2 weeks to do research with a professor there, so it was a really good experience.
You came back to the WNL basketball team right after Christmas. What was it like to rejoin the team in the middle of the season?
It was a little bit rough at first getting back into basketball shape, but since we only had one freshman, I knew everyone on the team and they were all very welcoming. And I was happy to be back, so it was a pretty smooth transition and nothing really exciting.
Washington and Lee's regular season has nearly mirrored that of 2009-2010 when the Generals won their first ever ODAC title. Do you get the sense that the WNL is playing its way into that form again and can do some damage next week at the ODAC tournament?
Yeah, I definitely think we've been playing really well, especially in the last 2 weeks. We're peaking around tournament time, which is the best time to start playing well. And I think if we play like we've been playing, we'll definitely win the championship.
Becca, thanks for being here. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
I'm joined now by Kyle Bond, junior basketball guard from Boxborough, Massachusetts. Kyle, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
What's your experience been like this season as one of a few upperclassmen on a very young team?
Honestly, I haven't noticed it very much. The sophomores don't really feel like underclassmen. You have guys like JD and Jeremy who are actually emerging as leaders on the team already. So the sophomores don't really feel young to me anymore. And even the freshmen had a quicker learning curve, I think, at the beginning of the year than freshmen usually do. I know quicker than I did when I was a freshman. It hasn't really felt very much like a young team all year. So I don't really have much to say for the answer to that question.
Who's your favorite point guard to watch?
My favorite to watch currently or all time?
Anytime, college, professional, you name it.
I would say Jerry McNamara from Syracuse. I'm a big Syracuse fan, and I love watching guys that can shoot. So Jerry McNamara, obviously one of the best shooters in college basketball history. So I had a lot of fun watching him help Syracuse get a championship.
Great start for Washington in the league this year. The Generals have dropped 6 ODAC games in a row now. What's caused WNL to slide a bit down the stretch?
Well, I think a lot of our problem actually was with the start of our season. We did well enough to win games, but we weren't really playing to our full potential. And I think we kind of made the mistake of thinking that how we were playing was good enough. And then we were able to start rising to our potential and beat teams like Emory and Eastern Mennonite, but we then fell into the trap of thinking that against lesser teams like Roanoke, teams that we weren't, I guess, scared of, we fell into the trap of thinking that we could return to the level that we were playing at before that, and it hasn't paid off.
You mentioned the win earlier over Eastern Mennonite. The Royals were ranked number 10 at that point.
Right.
You've played other ranked opponents like Virginia Wesleyan, Ferrum down to the wire. What will it take for WNL to get back to that level as you get closer to the ODAC tournament?
Well, we know we can play at that level, and I think honestly the biggest thing is mental preparation, focus, and playing tough in those games. We know that when those teams come to town, it has to be our best. Otherwise, we're not going to have a chance. And we need to have that attitude in every game. We need to have that attitude against teams like Roanoke, which it looks like there's a good chance we might play in the first round of the tournament. If we can get back to having that attitude and playing with that focus and toughness every game, then I think we'll be all right for the tournament.
Kyle, thanks for being here. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks a lot for having me.
The men's swimming team competes at the Bluegrass Mountain Conference Championship meet in Charlotte this week. Action started on Wednesday morning and continues through Saturday. On Friday, women's basketball visits Lynchburg for an ODAC contest. Women's tennis has its first 2 matches of the spring season, playing host to Bridgewater and Lynchburg on Saturday, while men's lacrosse meets Wittenberg at 1 o'clock at Wilson Field. Away from Lexington, the men's and women's track and field teams will be in action at the Dickinson Invitational. Women's basketball wraps up the regular season at Randolph, and riding competes at the Hollins Invitational. Then on Sunday, women's lacrosse opens its 2011 season at Mary Washington. The baseball team visits Oglethorpe, and riding participates in the IHSA Regionals. For WNL Sports Weekly, I'm Jeremy Franklin. Thanks for watching.